again Nasajit Lumasagi STRENJA1 and welcome back to my channel. For this video, let's talk about the knowledge of what I have gained from this lesson. And the title for this video, it is all about express, share, and learn. I know we have our own perspective. We have our own capabilities on how we understand or comprehend the lesson, to comprehend the text, the context, and all. But disclaimer, I am not the best or the smartest student in my school, but allow me to share the knowledge of what I have based on the lessons that my teacher presented in the class. And now let's start with the teaching and assessment of grammar. So let's talk first about grammar. Grammar was one recognized as a device of literature, and it is a vital part of any language as essentially beneficial mainly to the grammatical structures of a language. And having a grammar, it is necessary in order for us to keep away from confusion or misunderstanding, specifically in the sentence shape as nicely as in communication. Thus, grammar is about a structure, and one of way to instruct shapes to provide students rules or grammatical meaning. However, grammar is about a great deal greater than a form, and its teaching will serve if students are really given rules. And now, let us proceed to the grammar teaching. And based on my understanding here, grammar teaching is composed into an approaches that usually helpful to the students. Thus, basically, there are two types of approaches that being used in language teaching that the second language educators alternated over the centuries. The first approach is focused on analyzing the language. The second focus on using language, in which they are important in order to the learners being competent. There is need for a student to be accurate in terms of their speaking and writing skills. In short, speaking and writing accurately is part of communicative competence. The students or learners can learn form through exposure. In addition, we don't focus in form in isolation, but the making grammatical form. As a future educator, I teach grammatical form in communicative interactions, and there must be interactions between the language form and the language use. Moreover, grammar teaching focuses also on the type of grammar of pedagogical grammar, or this is what we call in general, in which there has a set of learning strategies, learning kits, and more to be teach or impart to the students or to the learners. In addition, the language teaching, there has two approaches. One, the grammar teaching has four approaches. So first approaches, this is what they call the PPP, present, practice, and produce. So this approach, it is all about, is known as the most widely practiced traditional approach to traditional instructions. Second is the input processing, whereby the learners are guided to pay attention to a feature in a target language input is likely to cause a problem. Third is focus on form, focused within a communicative or meaning-based approach to language teaching. Last is the ability to use grammar structures correctly, which this is a natural component of language use. Grammar is the fifth skills that has the ability to use the grammar accurately, meaningfully, and appropriately. Next, we have the grammar assessment. Now, the grammar assessment, there has also an approaches in which they are also important to the students to have the results or to get the data or the result or evaluation of the students' performances, where the traditional approach can be assessed through the four skills, in which the grammatical knowledge is known as an accurate production and comprehension that usually useful in terms in grammar assessment. On the other hand, the latter approach is defined as a more integrative approach, to grammar assessment, where grammatical performance could be assessed by raters using scales for grammatical accuracy, complexity, and the range of grammatical structure used. Now, let us proceed to the fundamental terms and concepts associated to the teaching and assessing of grammar. Now, we have first the grammaring. Now, grammaring can be considered as the fifth skills because this is the ability. It is a skills that the students can practice and produce meaningful use of grammar. And grammaring is one of the factors that we can use the language or the grammar as an accurate or meaningfully precise, in which the students can do communicative practice for real communication outside of the classroom. Second is the grammaticalization. Now, grammaticalization, it operates across a language and it is more generally with the development of the marker used for procedural cueing of abstract relationship of linguistic items with concrete referential meaning. Now we have the error correction versus feedback. This is a huge issue on the grammar teaching, thus giving learners feedback their non-target-like performance in an effectively supportive way, while error correction techniques are the most efficacious. Fourth, we have the spoken versus written grammar. They utilize the same grammatical repertoires, but those so with different frequencies. Number 5, we have the grammar assessment. I have already shared my knowledge about the grammar assessment recently. And now let us proceed to the number 6, which is the last. We have the pedagogical issues. Now, pedagogical issues, the key word for this is the classroom guidance that concerns the teaching from the lesson plan approaches to teaching. And that's all. Thank you so much for your watching, and I hope that you learned something from my knowledge of what I have gained from that lesson. See you next week. Bye!
Clap.